Okay. All right, I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order for the regular meeting for September 24th, 2024. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our mission statement is learning for life. Vision statement is Southgate Community Schools, best choice for students and parents. And with that, I will entertain a motion on the agenda.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Okay, I have a motion by Dr. Pomponio. Is there support? Support. Support by Mr. Green. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call up the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Next, we have no presentations tonight. And then following that is citizens' comments. Is there anybody who would like to address the board tonight? May address the board for up to 3 minutes. Seeing none, I'll go ahead and close public comment. Brings us to the consent agenda, and I'll entertain a motion on the consent agenda, which consists of minutes from September 10th, 2024 board workshop and regular meeting, and the HR update.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Okay, I have a motion by Dr. Pomponio. Is there support? Support. Supported by Mr. Sage. Any discussion? All right, seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Passes. Action agenda number 1, approval of the technology whiteboard installation.
Director of Technology. In the last 2 years, we've installed Epson interactive projectors with the board-approved Bond AB project. There have been issues with the interactivity in some rooms throughout the district due to old whiteboards or chalkboards that just have film over the chalkboards. Epson is recommending that those rooms with the interactivity issues be placed with a projection whiteboard with a steel backing. The projector installers also concurred with doing a whiteboard audit, and they felt that the boards also needed to be switched out. We've been given a quote for the whiteboards themselves, as well as a quote from the projector installers for removing the old boards from the classroom and adding the projector boards centered under the new projector. The bond construction funds would be used for this project. The whiteboard quote, along with a marker tray for the 75 rooms that were deemed as being needing the replacement, is $37,180. The quote for board removal, installation, and dumpsters is $78,412.50. The project total is $115,592.50. At this time, we're seeking approval for purchasing new whiteboards, removal of the old whiteboards, and installing one new projection whiteboard in each classroom that was deemed in the needing replacement. Thank you.
Any questions? Dr. Pomponio.
Hi, was there a comparison of materials or boards that were different companies made, or was it just the bid that?
Yeah, so I went to multiple whiteboard companies to get comparisons, and Epson recommended the steel-backed projection whiteboards that Morco made. They're actually the ones that Epson also uses when they do their own installations at their company.
So what are the different other types of interactive whiteboards? Are there any others that are made with different materials or?
Yes, there's glass, there's porcelain, there's just regular corkboard with white over top of it, but the steel backed ones are the ones that they deem the best, and the porcelain is the projection one, and then low gloss is the one that they are recommending.
Okay, and does any warranties come with it? I hate to keep saying warranties, but,
It's a lifetime warranty.
okay, thank you.
I think I know the answer, but is there any value to the old boards at all?
I do know that we've had one teacher say, can I keep the board that you're pulling down so that I can write on it separately?
Right.
A lot of them are, like I said, they're just chalkboard with white film over them. Some are just thin little pieces of board. So a lot of them are not, and they're so old and shouldn't be in the classrooms anymore. It's kind of a shame. But then there are some that, for writing purposes, yeah, they could still be used. And I believe that I heard that some of the maintenance department wanted to use some of the old ones. So we could keep some of them, but not for projecting.
Right,
Because they're
right.
so warped that trying to have the kids touch just doesn't work right. We want them to be engaged, and it's just really hard when it's bouncing all over the place.
Any other questions? All right. Seeing none, I'll bring the discussion back to the table. Entertain a motion on action item number 1.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to approve the technology whiteboard installation as presented.
Okay, I have a motion by Dr. Pomponio. Is there support?
Support.
Supported by Mr. Sage. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Passes. Item number 2, approval of the server upgrade.
We currently have an aging server farm. The project has been pushed back multiple times for various reasons. We've asked Plant Moran to do work with our vendors to provide the best quality server design, meeting security standards as well as requirements to maintain our cybersecurity insurance. The bond finance manager had given us a budget for this project, but the quotes that were given to us by the project manager well exceeded our budget. It was $32,500 over what they had budgeted for us. So I asked our network manager, Nick, back there, if he could reach out to vendors and try to get the same design, but under our budget. He did a fantastic job this summer. He talked to Dell, he talked to HP, he talked to Lenovo. That he decided that, along with our team, that Lenovo had the best quality for the price. They got all of the equipment that we needed, including a tape library, because the cybersecurity insurance that we hold requires that we have a tape library just so that it can be put off-site, or just having a different mode other than just all online or in the cloud backups. So that is part of our design. He worked with them, and then we worked with Bloom to get a REMC quote, so we have consortium pricing. So that is when a whole bunch of other companies give their quotes for their devices that they sell, and then the state of Michigan decides which one is the best price. So it's already been quoted out by multiple vendors. So we got the REMC price and went with Bloom because that was the best quote that we got. And then we went through CDW because they have the REMC cost for the Microsoft server licensing that needs to go on some of them. That, along with the server backup equipment, Nick will be implementing the project along with some of our other team. He'll be doing that at the same time that the current servers remain in place. He'll be upgrading and setting up the new servers so that there's minimal or no downtime. The system quotes for the equipment were $150,000 from the bond team, and Nick was able to get the quotes down to $92,072.57, and our actual budget was $117,500, so quite a bit under budget. So at this time, we're seeking your approval to upgrade with the bond money that we have for the project. Thank you.
Any questions?
So the tape backup, is that physical tape that's being stored?
Yes.
So
And we can store it off-site so that if something were to go wrong, that it doesn't, then we can easily bring it back from tape as opposed to any other means that may be rendered useless if something were to happen.
And then how long do you keep that? Because how much storage would you need for?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, tape, I believe, is a general shelf life of, I think they recommend about 10 years.
Okay.
So until it fills up, we can store it for up to 10 years or so.
Okay.
Not the
We did
media
quite a bit of
broadband.
space on it, so I don't imagine we'll need a whole ton of them.
Okay.
Probably fit, I'd say about 2 months of backups. Probably 3 very easily onto a single tape.
Okay.
So it's not gonna be like a continuous cost.
Right.
And the
I-
majority of our working, what everybody uses every day is on Google, so that is backed up by Google. And then our finance system is at Wayne Risa, and that is backed up as well. So really, our main servers that the people touch, the staff and students touch, is our Windows servers where they have to log in. But for the most part, it's mostly for our internal systems to keep us safe, to keep logs, to make sure that nothing is going on. So for the most part, it's not anything that the staff and students would have to deal with, other than the phone system. Our new phone system is on our old servers, and we'll be moving those over to the new ones.
So that would be helpful and faster with the new
Yes.
server. And I think I know what it is, but a server farm? What is that?
It's just the multiple servers that,
Okay,
yeah, so it's just, we'll have two, I think, physical servers, or one physical server and then the two, okay. And then the virtual machines as well as the backup, so it just kind of sits in a little farm on our rack.
but does that also mean if one goes down, the other one kicks in? Okay, okay. Okay, thank you.
I like that question.
Any other questions? So our upgrade is basically a matter of our equipment being outdated, not undersized.
Yes.
So size isn't the
Yes,
issue.
but
It's-
it will also provide us more, better speeds and more protections, because we'll have the most up-to-date software as well. And even our software is aging.
But it's not a matter where you're finding you're always running out of space and having
No,
to
no.
go back through and repartition or
Not at
tell people to delete. Okay. Great.
Because I just went through this with my work, but as far as the backups, how often are you doing the backups?
Currently, it's twice a week. With the new system, we are hoping to have every day.
Okay. And I'm assuming the cloud base would be a lot more expensive? Is that a,
If you look with cloud-based, yes, because then it'd be a monthly cost depending on how much space we
Right.
use. And how often we back up. It's more cost effective to do it locally.
And we had to do it locally per the bond requirements. We couldn't do cloud, because if we could have done cloud, we probably would have done Microsoft 365. But in the bond, we had to do on-premise. Even with the phone server upgrade, it had to be on-premise and not cloud.
And when you're referring to Plant Moran in here, that's not the same Plant Moran that's helping us with our bond stuff. The technology side, I think, is
Plant
different.
Moran IT as opposed
Yeah,
to
yeah,
Plant
it's,
Moran.
yeah, it's
Cressa.
different. It's not, yeah, it's not Plant Moran Cressa that
No, it's
you're
the IT
referring to,
side of
right?
it.
It's the IT side.
One floor away.
Yeah. Different, but
Different but the same.
the same. Right. Okay. Any other questions for staff? All right. Seeing none, I'll bring the discussion back to the table. Entertain a motion on action item number 2.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to approve the server upgrade as presented.
Okay, a motion by Dr. Pomponio. Is there support? Support. Mr. Green, any discussion? Okay, seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion passes. Action item number 3, approval to sell Ford Motor Company stock.
Hi, I put some more documentation in front of you there, in case you have some additional questions about the stock statement and our books. But the district has had the benefit of having funds from this former, what we call the trust account, named the TJ Anderson Scholarship Account. And the TJ Anderson Scholarship Account has been awarding scholarships to the Anderson High School students since prior to July 1 of 1989. That's as far back as I could find the data. Some of the funds had been invested in the Ford Motor Company stock in 2004. And that was just a portion of the cash value that we had at the time. Again, I don't have specific numbers as to the stock. I can look into that and get that information if you're interested. But I can see total dollar amounts that were purchased back at that time. So since 2004, we haven't had any more donations coming into this fund. The stock has a current value of $7,694.89 as of 9/17/2024, with 691.675 shares. The cash value at this time for that whole fund is only $1,356, and we have several expenditures pending that need to go out because the way that the scholarship works, one student is awarded each year for 2 semesters for the whole 4 years of school. So at this point, we have 4 students receiving the scholarship. We just added a new student in the fall. We have communicated to the high school to pause on this because we need to get a final accounting and see what the stock will give us in cash so that we can keep awarding. But at this point, we have roughly $8,000 in a commitment to these students, and we need to come up with cash from this fund. So at that point, the funds are going to be depleted once we cash in the stock and finish these commitments. And so I am requesting that the board approve the termination of the Ford Motor Company stock so that we can continue funding this TJ Anderson scholarship.
Any questions from Ms. Wilson? Dr. Pomponio?
Yeah, the same one I had just a minute ago about, this is the first time I've heard about it, the Ford Motor stock. So what I'm concerned about is who was monitoring it all this time? Because as a stock and the value, deciding who decides now it's time to, we want to bring it to the board to sell? Or as opposed to, I know several years ago when they had a big profit, maybe we had made more money. I never heard of the stock. So is there like a column or a line item that is in the budget? Because I never seen it. And I was just curious, who monitored it to decide we have enough, the stock's making money, or we need to sell it?
So my guess, and just some questions that have come up, is that TJ Anderson, either this person's estate donated money to the district for a scholarship fund, or the family was giving us money, because I could trace some deposits back into the 90s. They were giving us chunks of money, like maybe $1,000 in a year or whatever they were giving to continue building this fund up. At a point, and I'm guessing it was the former director of finance, decided to take some of that money, not all of it, but take a chunk of it and buy some of the stock to see how much we could, continue or raise the balance in the account. And it's been monitored by my department since then. So each year we get a statement like what I put in front of you. Right now it's called CompuShare. I don't know what it was 30 years ago. I'd have to, see if I can get in there and dig around and see what the history is. But I guess that 30, 35, 40 years ago, it was paper. Like you were saying, the director did everything by paper at that time. But I think that I don't know how this actually played out. So I'm going to try to dig around and get that further information for you. But there isn't any cash left in the fund to make these awards to the students. So I just want you to be aware of that.
Okay, thank you.
So just to clarify, the cash that was in the fund is been depleted by these student scholarships.
Yes,
So we have stock. The plan would be is to sell the stock to fund those same scholarships.
correct.
So money hasn't disappeared from the fund.
No, not at all. In fact, every year when we get the stock statement, we adjust to market. And so, it has just dropped a little bit recently, just from June, $1,000, $1,500 already. But it, looking back over the years, this stock did help us a bit with these scholarships, because what happens is when there's a gain, we put the credit to the scholarship fund. And so that's more money that we can award. So, so it's done well in that respect. It's just that we're at the end. We haven't had money for 25, 30 years coming in, except for this stock. So, and we do want to be able to honor the scholarships that were already awarded to the students.
Any other questions for staff?
And I'm just curious, is this unusual to take donated funds and purchase stock with them?
I don't think so. I think it was purchased as an investment. Like, we have investment accounts that are basically cash in the MyLaw fund. And this was just another type of investment. Instead of doing like a term or a CD through MyLaw, this director decided to buy this stock with a chunk of the money. That's what I do want to find out. I'm trying to look through the records to see how many shares were purchased and what the cost was. I haven't been able to find that at this point. So that would be interesting to know. You know, what were these purchased at? There's 600 shares here now. Did he only buy 100 shares? And look at how much they've grown in this many years. But again, it was so long ago, you know, our records are just paper. And we did, like I was saying, we went over to the storage, permanent storage, and we found some statements from the 70s, but they didn't list this.
But it's
It's
not a common
stock.
practice today where we take donated funds and go buy a single company stock with it.
Yeah, it's
I don't think
not something I would have personally chosen. I'd like to go with the conservative, have my hands on cash method. And I still have to investigate, you know, even if you approve the sale of the stock, how to go about doing that at this point. They're real good about telling you how to buy shares. They don't say too much on the sale. So, but yeah, I guess to get into more liquid, you know, get some cash into the district so that we can, again, you know, award this out, but
it is not any longer any practice of the district to manage other people's scholarship investments, though. That is something that has changed quite a bit from rules and audits that have come forward, that we no longer are guardians of others' money for purposes of this, so. This is, I think, our last one, correct, that we're managing at this point, and you and I can confirm that, but.
And then also, we don't know if there was any agreement or verbiage, because the school was changed the name changed, so they might have donated with stipulations so that might be part of it.
Right, there was a time when scholarship distribution and money management was something that a district would do on behalf of someone, but that's changed with GASB 84. We no longer manage money that's going to students. Isn't considered an educational purpose for it to be given as scholarship. So this is a single remaining legacy kind of responsibility that we're carrying out to the end.
Darlene's right. Maybe with the money run out, we got to strip the name off the school now. It's just going to be Southgate High School.
Maybe that was a
I
stipulation
don't
too.
know. Maybe that was part of the deal, right? I don't know. When the money runs out, we'll change the name. Maybe somebody else wants to buy one. Okay. All right. We'll look into
We
it.
invested in a big sign.
Yeah, we can get a bigger sign.
Yeah.
The Ford Motor Company High School.
No, it's failing. Remember the stock?
They got money to spend on this.
Right, they donated.
Right. All right. Any other questions for staff? All right. Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion on action item number 3.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to approve the sale of the Ford Motor Company stock as presented.
Okay, motion by Dr. Pomponio. Is there support? Support. Support by Mr. Green. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Brings us to the last item on the agenda. Would anybody like to make a motion? Mr. President.
thank you, and I'll follow up on your questions anyway.
Motion to adjourn. Okay, a motion by Mr. Green to adjourn the meeting. Is there support? Support. Oh, support by Mr. Lamas. He jumped in on you.
Yeah.
All right, any discussion on the adjournment? Seeing none, I'll call for vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.
See, no, I was-